Before we get started today, I have something special to share with you. You know how many people I talk to who say, Melissa, I don't even know what I want. I don't have a big vision for my life. And they feel like something's wrong with them. But here's the truth. You're not going to have a clear vision if you haven't gotten intentional about excavating it, about really digging deep into your soul to find it. But once you do, everything changes. And it's not about figuring out what the next 50 years of your life looks like right now. It's more about finding what you do know, leaning into that, and then letting the next step reveal itself. There's actually a process to this. You may have heard me talking about Living Mind Love by now. It's the brand new Mind Love community that will be working towards something for an entire year together in a way that actually fits into your life. Well, our very first month together is all about getting clear on your vision. And if you already have one, we're going even deeper. I've taken everything I've learned from nearly 500 interviews with the world's most brilliant minds, and I've broken it down into simple steps that actually work. You'll be part of the first ever Mind Love community on School, so we get to uncover all of this together. So if you're ready to find your vision, go to mindlove.com/living and join the waitlist, and you'll get instant access to my 10-year vision meditation. So let's get into today's episode. Welcome to Mind Love Premium, episode 44. Today's episode is all about sugar addiction and your brain.
People don't realize that the cigarette companies, as they were headed downward after the litigation, bought up all the food companies and really just kind of turned the addiction model on it and understood that we could get children addicted earlier to added sugars and cereals and baby foods and all that kind of convenient stuff for the mom, right? To literally change your emotional management system that has been in place probably since the womb, definitely since you were a child, where your mother used sugar to manage your moods, to manage your feelings, just like my mother's family did. And then she did to us because she didn't know any different. She didn't know any better. And so once that understanding is in place, your brain is in no shape to make these decisions for you, these wise decisions, until you get off of this stuff.
Everything is connected, right? The things of the universe, like the galaxies, the solar system, the sun, the moon, the stars, the things of our planet, the earth, the sea, the skies, the things of our being, mind, body, and spirit. So our bodies can be in peak physical condition, but if our minds and spirit are depleted or low, we can't really show up in our lives as our best selves. In the same way, if our bodies are weak, we can't think as clearly or radiate as brightly as we came to this life to do. Each pillar of our being impacts the others, either putting it out or fanning our flame, which is why it makes sense that today we're talking about sugar addiction. It seems like just a health issue, but it also affects our brains and our mindsets. A lot of people think that sugar addiction is something that just affects your weight loss goals. But what if I told you that sugar is actually a drug? Our brains are hardwired for pleasure, and eating sugar releases opioids and dopamine into our bodies. This is not just a metaphor. A study in the Journal of Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews found that sugar meets the criteria for a substance of abuse and may be addictive to those who binge on it. And it does this by affecting the chemistry of the limbic system, the part of the brain that's associated with emotional control. This study found that even just intermittent access to sugar can lead to behavioral and neurochemical changes that resemble the effects of substance of abuse. And maybe you're hearing this information thinking, well, I rarely say yes to dessert, so I'm golden, right? Well, sugar isn't just in cakes and cookies. It's also found in a ton of savory foods like bread and pasta sauce. Even some foods promoted as natural or healthy are full of added sugars. And in fact, there is added sugar in anywhere from 74% to 85% of packaged foods sold in supermarkets. So even if you do skip dessert, unless you're mainly shopping in the produce section, you're probably still consuming way more added sugar than is recommended. And not only that, once we're done with this episode, you might realize that any sugar is too much sugar because of the effects that it has on your brain and body. I know what sugar addiction feels like. I don't think that you can have struggled with bulimia for as long as I did and not be affected by sugar addiction. Bulimia is essentially binge eating disorder with the added sexiness of also purging the mass amounts of food that you just ate. At my peak of bulimia, I could eat enough for a family of 5 before I purged once. Usually I was drawn toward all the things that I didn't want to keep down, like boxes of cheap desserts, bags of chips, cheap processed foods, all the things known to have the most sugar. I remember hearing that bulimia was something that would always plague me. And for years, it seemed that was right. I knew a lot of my binge eating stemmed from not processing my trauma. Each binge purge cycle usually started with emotional eating, so I spent a lot of time trying to work through it all. But even when I was engaging in healthier eating behaviors, one wrong food could send me sliding back to where I started. It was exhausting, and I really never felt healed until I read a book called The Bulimia Help Method. It helped me to realize that the emotional part wasn't the whole issue. The foods I was eating were working against all of the inner work that I'd been doing. It's kind of like if you were to address the emotional stuff leading to your drug addiction, but then thought you could still snort cocaine on occasion and not become a problem. The drug itself is addictive. So as whole as you are emotionally, your body is still probably going to succumb to the addictive effects. Well, like I said before, sugar is a drug. So if you're working on portion control or eating cleaner or whatever, know that if you're consuming the drug, you can't blame yourself if your willpower just never feels like enough. So today we're going deep on the real effects of sugar. And our guest is Michael Collins. He's the founder of sugaraddiction.com and the Quit Sugar Summit. He's dedicated his whole professional life to bring the awareness of sugar addiction to people that have health, wellness, or eating issues. And he has personally been sugar-free for over 30 years. And he's the author of the best-selling book, The Last Resort Sugar Detox Guide. 3 key things we will learn are how binge eating and sugar addiction are related, the long-term risks of sugar addiction, and how to start physically and emotionally detoxing. Hey there, wild minds. So this was just a preview, but you can access the whole episode with a Mind Love Premium membership. If Mind Love has been helpful to you in any way, consider helping support the show by joining this exclusive community. I promise I'm making it totally worth it. You get exclusive episodes, which means twice the Mind Love, in a private feed that imports right to your favorite podcast app, so you don't have to go to the web to listen. And that's not all. You also get all Mind Love episodes ad-free for uninterrupted listening. You get early access to episodes, and you get bonus video interviews and powerful meditation downloads. And finally, you get priority access to me, so you're free to reach out to me with any questions that you have about life, love, relationships, success, whatever it might be. And in more good news, you can get started free with a 2-week free trial. Just go to mindlove.com/premium. And if you're a student, reach out to me on Instagram and I'll give you a special discount.